In this video, let's take a closer look at Shego from Kim Possible and explore her backstory and personality in the series. While we mostly know her as a villain, things weren't always that way. In fact, Shego started out as a superhero. She was once part of a team called Team Go, alongside her 4 brothers. Together, they were a family of crime fighters from Go City, working together to keep their town safe.
Can we get back to Shego for a minute? Your sister?
And at one time, a fellow hero.
Shego good?
She and I and the rest of our family, we were Team Go.
What's fascinating about her origins is how she and her brothers got their superpowers. The story goes that when they were younger, a mysterious comet struck the treehouse where they spent a lot of time. This comet wasn't just some random space rock, it actually gave Shego and her brothers incredible abilities. For Shego, the comet gave her the power to generate and control green glowing energy. She used this power in combat, often as an offensive weapon, firing blasts of glowing energy at her enemies. However, even with these amazing powers, Shego didn't find being a hero all that enjoyable. Over time, she became disillusioned with the whole superhero lifestyle. Not only did she struggle with the constant bickering between her brothers, but she also found herself growing tired of the whole do-gooder routine. She just couldn't find any real joy or excitement in fighting crime anymore. This frustration and boredom with being a hero eventually led her to make a big change. She quit the superhero life and turned to a life of villainy. The shift from hero to villain was a big one for Shego, but it wasn't all bad. In fact, she found that being a villain gave her a sense of freedom and excitement that she never felt as a hero. She loved the thrill of doing things her own way, without the restrictions of heroism. The life of a villain suited her much better, and it became clear that she thrived in that role. She is one of the most unforgettable characters in the Kim Possible series, and it's not hard to see why. What makes her so memorable is how layered and complex her personality is. She's not your typical one-note villain. Instead, she's witty, sarcastic, confident, and full of sass. These traits come through in almost every scene she's in, making her both intimidating and entertaining at the same time. One of the things that really stands out about her is how she often mocks Dr. Draken. His plans are usually way too complicated and ridiculous, and Shego loves pointing this out with her sharp sense of humor. She's not afraid to show that she thinks his ideas are silly, and it's clear that she enjoys poking fun at his expense. Despite being a villain, her relationship with Dr. Draken is surprisingly well matched. They make a great duo, but it's pretty clear that Shego is the brains of the operation. She's much more competent, level-headed, and capable than Draken, who often fumbles his way through their schemes. In fact, Shego's smart, and her ability to think on her feet is a big part of what makes her stand out. While Draken may have the big grandiose ideas, it's Shego who keeps things running smoothly and makes sure their plans don't fall apart completely. Even though she is on the wrong side of the law, she's not your typical villain with a one-track mind bent on world domination or chaos. She has her own set of morals, and this is what makes her such an interesting character. Her actions often seem to be driven by her own amusement or personal interests rather than a desire to cause destruction for its own sake. For example, Shego had countless chances to take out Kim Possible, but instead of finishing her off, she chooses to spare her. It's not out of kindness, but rather because she enjoys the challenge of fighting Kim. She's not a cold-blooded killer. She's more about the thrill of the moment and getting a good laugh out of her encounters.
It's gonna blow the pipeline, Kimmy, and your skin definitely doesn't need more oil.
What's also notable is that Shego doesn't go around hurting innocent people, and she refuses to harm defenseless individuals or animals. While she's certainly no hero, this part of her character shows that there's a limit to her villainy. She has standards, and while she's a villain, she's not heartless. Of course, like many characters with strong personalities, Shego has her flaws, and one of her biggest is her short temper. She has little patience for incompetence, especially when it comes to Draken. His constant failure to follow through on his plans or even execute them correctly drives her crazy. If you push her too far, you'll see a side of her that can be downright ruthless. Her abilities make her a serious force to deal with, because not only is she able to manipulate energy, but she's also an expert in hand-to-hand combat. On top of that, she's got impressive agility and athleticism that allow her to move quickly and efficiently in battle. Her intelligence and strategic thinking only add to her already dangerous skill set, making her someone who can think her way out of tricky situations and come up with plans on the fly. All these qualities make Shego someone you can't easily underestimate. When it comes to her relationships with other characters, this is another area that adds a lot of depth to Shego's personality. First up is Dr. Draken. While Shego often mocks him for his intelligence and leadership skills, there's more to their relationship than just constant bickering. Despite her teasing and sarcastic remarks, there's a real bond between them. They share a unique kind of camaraderie, with Shego often acting as both a foil and a partner to Draken. This dynamic grows over time, showcasing their reliance on each other as partners in crime. Then there's Kim Possible. Even though she and Kim are rivals, their relationship has an interesting dynamic. Shego, despite all the taunting and fighting, seems to have a certain respect for Kim's abilities. She doesn't just see her as an enemy. She acknowledges Kim as a worthy opponent, which is a rare thing for someone like Shego, who usually sees people as obstacles. This kind of respect adds a layer to their rivalry, making their interactions more complex than a simple hero versus villain storyline. Her relationship with her former superhero team, Team Go, is another aspect of her character that adds depth. This group, which includes her brothers, is a part of Shego's past, and while she's moved on to being a villain, her connection with them hasn't changed all that much.
Looks like all of my least favorite people in the world have gotten together to form a club. Why? There is no way I can do this. 5 minutes with my brothers and I'm ready to claw my own eyes out.
She still feels frustrated with her brothers, especially considering their constant bickering and lack of competence. But there are moments where their old teamwork shines through. Her brothers still see her as part of the team, which creates this interesting blend of loyalty and resentment. All of these relationships contribute to Shego's complex and layered personality, which is one of the reasons she remains one of the most beloved characters in Kim Possible. Unlike many one-dimensional villains, Shego has so many different sides to her that make her feel real and relatable, even though she's on the wrong side of the law. Her struggles with loyalty, respect, and her complicated dynamics with other characters all come together to create a character that stands out in a way that's both entertaining and thoughtful.